lot of football to get to. Aaron Rodgers, he's back. He's at camp. He's a Packer. Who would have guessed? Julian Edlow, Garion Thorne, Reid Fowler joining us here. And Garion, let's start with you, my friend. Now that this saga appears to be over, even though the ink isn't quite dry, Packers, Aaron Rodgers, this is the inevitable. And so what does this do for his fantasy, for sportsbook odds on the DK Sportsbook? What do you make of the whole thing?
I mean, congratulations to anyone who took a Packers future the past 2 weeks. Look, I don't want to say this was the expected outcome, but I don't think anyone actually thought he was retiring, right? I mean, this is someone who just won the MVP. This is someone who led football in touchdown rate, in adjusted net yards per attempt last season. This is a Packers team that was first in DVOA or offensive DVOA last season under Matt LaFleur. Like, it just seemed like everything was kind of starting to come together. I don't really think this changes my opinion of the Packers in terms of them being a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I don't really trust this team late in the playoffs. However, I will say right now they are minus 130 to win their division. And that to me seems like a pretty good bet. I just don't really know who the second best team in the NFC North is. I mean, I guess there's a chance it's the Vikings, but there's still a huge Kirk Cousins factor there. You've got the Bears still kind of figuring out who their quarterback is going to be this year. Do they waste 6 weeks with Andy Dalton behind center? I don't know. It's a possibility. But if you go by last season's advanced metrics, the Packers were so clearly far and away the best team in that division. Minus 130 doesn't seem all that steep a price to pay. So I guess that's where I'm looking now that we know Rodgers is going to be playing in 2021.
Jules, what kind of year are we going to see from the reigning MVP?
Well, he's the reigning MVP, and he's getting up there in age, and he, has been quite petty this offseason with the Green Bay Packers. I don't think everything is – well, first of all, how ridiculous is it that swinging odds that we see for literally nothing happened? Like, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback of the Packers. He's still the quarterback of the Packers. All he did is show up after people that aren't even reliable sources said that he might retire, and the odds go all over the place and now swing back. I think Green Bay is fairly priced to win the division, but I think there's going to be some regression here. Now, the other part of it is the Lions stink. I have them under 5 wins. They're not doing anything. The Bears have a lot to figure out. They could be in the mix. And the Vikings are a huge wild card. Like, they have pieces. Garion talked about it, but can they really compete with the Packers? I don't really know. So I think the Packers are still a fine bet based on who's available in the division. But at the same time, I feel like things might not, if you hit one bump in the road here with how Rodgers has been this offseason, things can go backwards very quickly. Like, this is being called the last dance. Well, guess what? You didn't win 6 championships and come back. You've been coming up short every year. So don't compare yourself to Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. I need to see it to believe it. I'm thinking the Packers are going to hit a bump somewhere in the road, and things aren't going to be as smooth as we think.
Reid Rodgers has said his future is a beautiful mystery. It looks like we might have a conclusion, but Davante Adams, he's expected to be back. What's his year going to look like with Rodgers?
We're only talking about Randall Cobb too, Cobb. Don't forget about the Cobb guy. All of this was a big ploy. It was a long con to get Cobb back in. Julian is getting a little bit angry about the last dance, and he's getting caught up. It's true, getting caught up in all the minutia of this, and it's true, right? It's all minutia. I do love his hair. I love the sunglasses. I love the vibe after coming back from Hawaii. That's what happens to you, Koff, is that you get a little bit more relaxed, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Look, Gary mentioned something that I think is poignant. His touchdown rate last year was over 9%. That's going to regress. That's going to come down. And from a fantasy standpoint, I still got him at QB9. He's still taught single digit, QB9 or 10. But the guy's not mobile. He's wanted to play into his 40s, but he's just not a mobile quarterback. And those touchdowns, I do think, come down. Davante Adams is now, in my opinion, if everything is signed, a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver, you take over Tyreek Hill. I don't think there's a huge amount of regression just because of who is Aaron Rodgers going to throw to try to have a last dance type of season. It ain't Robert Tonyan. It's going to be Davante Adams. So I love Adams, Aaron Jones too. I think their ADP start to increase, but I'd still wait and try and get a good price at Aaron Rodgers in season long.